being there in that situation where you're part of a team that can be promoted, and the other way around, you're part in a team that if you're not doing well can get relegated. It just brings some extra motivation.
Hello, welcome to the United Soccer Lounge. My name is Riley James. Great show for you today. Danny Trejo of the Birmingham Legion stopped by to be able to chat with us about his expansive career across the United States, arriving in Alabama, and his last year and a half in Poland, fighting in a relegation battle, which obviously led to a promotion relegation conversation as it's getting closer and closer to us here in the United States. There's a difference between Southern hospitality and Hoosier hospitality and Southwest nice and just so many different things. That's an interesting thing that we talked about today because he has spent a lot of his career in the American Southwest, California, Mexico, but now he's in Birmingham, and that's just a different type of people. America is so cool and great because however large the one country might be, there's so many different types of regions. Each state has its own personality with its own people, so to be able to go around and experience all these different things, I asked him about that. I obviously asked him about the relegation battle in Poland to be able to have insight on that and share perspective as we do get closer to that in 2027 within USL. That's going to be our lives that we're going to get to experience each and every year beyond. So, it's nice to hear the realities of that. And obviously winning championships and trophies and all the success he's had with both Las Vegas and Phoenix as well as LAFC. So great show today. Super thankful he made time for us. And this will be our last show for a couple weeks. I'm going on vacation. We always take a summer break, or at least we did last year. We will continue to do so this year and hopefully into next year. That's going to be the rhythm of the show. So super thankful to you for watching the program. Cannot wait to be able to see you guys again. But for today, we have Danny Trejo on the show. So subscribe to the United Soccer Lounge on Goals.tv and Goals TV on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching the show. Subscribe, like, send all the stuff, comment your favorite thing. And here's our interview with Danny Trejo. Please welcome to the show a man with multiple trophies in his career. He spent time in Las Vegas. He is a 2023 USL Championship winner with the Phoenix Rising, a member of the Birmingham Legion, an attacking midfielder. Please welcome to the show, Danny Trejo. Danny, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, man. How are you?
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Danny Trejo. I'm happy to be here and happy to talk.
I mean, you very well introduced yourself to the USL crowd over multiple seasons. You've been fantastic. Like I said, a champion with Phoenix, a very beloved player in the history of the Las Vegas Lights, and even an MLS stint with LAFC. So a fantastic career that you've had. Cannot wait to talk about it today. But there's something that I found interesting is that you snuck off to Poland for a year. So I want to ask you, what brought you back stateside before we dip into anything else?
Yeah, well, obviously, as we know, I played a few seasons in the championship. Played with Vegas my first year, and then second year in the USL Championship, I was playing with Vegas and playing a little bit with the LAFC as well. And then went on to play in Phoenix. We won the championship there, and then I got the opportunity to go to Poland. You hear Poland, and it's a completely different place from what I'm used to. But I think it was something exciting for me at that time, for sure, because it allowed me to challenge myself. Something that obviously as a soccer player, that's what I want. I want to be able to experience different ways of getting to know the game as well. And I think Poland provided me that. And I decided to take myself to Poland and face that challenge over there.
Now, Poland, very different than Alabama, I can imagine. Um, you come back to Birmingham. What did that year away in Europe teach you, and how have you brought that into USL?
Yeah, I think when you look at obviously playing here in the USL and then getting the opportunity to play there in Poland, there's a lot of obviously things that you take into consideration, like moving out there because of the obviously there's a different challenge, but the it's completely different. You're going from the States where you're used to seeing your friends, you're used to seeing everybody to then being over there where you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
So that self drive, that self motivation, it has to be with you. And I think that year was very fun for me, and one year that I made sure to give everything, enjoy it, and most importantly, learn from it while I was there to keep growing as a player, but also help grow wherever I'm at next.
If this was not a USL centric podcast, I would have a million questions about the move to Poland, but we just don't have the time. And I love that you're back because you've been such an impactful player in the USL Championship, and obviously a tough start to the year for the Legion, but you guys are well into the mix. I mean, you know how this league works. It's not truly about how you start. It really is about how you play the last 2/3 of the season. So what, from your perspective, is the biggest thing to clean up for these final 20 games?
Yes, I think when you look at Birmingham Legion, this is a team that we have the players. And from my experiences and from what I see, this is a team that we have a lot of potential. But when you have players that are this talented, and when you're starting in from the beginning, and then you're bringing in players, adding into the squad, obviously we have a new coach. The reality is that it takes a little bit of time. And I think as long as the players, which I think we all do, continue to show up and want to learn, and most importantly, in my opinion, is all head towards the same direction, having the same goals, same tactics. We're all moving together. And I think if we if we do that, it allows us to have more games to where we are able to really get as a team to compete for these games. And like you said, I think we have enough games left, but we all have to make sure we're heading there game by game where we can get to where we think we can get to.
Right, and it's a tough thing is having a bunch of people coming in and out of a roster, and you're right, it does take time to gel. We've seen that not only in just USL but world soccer, every place. I mean, the soccer's the same all over the world. It takes time for guys to be able to gel together, and Birmingham has had promising results and promising moments over the course of the first 10 games, but definitely a lot to improve on as we go forward. Now, we got the soccer stuff out of the way, and all that's great and fun, and that's why we do the show. But I have some fun questions towards the back half of this thing, because I'm so curious, because you've lived in so many different places. You've experienced what it's like to play in the United States. You have majority of your career played in the American Southwest. Now, when you have the opportunity to come to Birmingham, Alabama, what surprised you the most when you got there about their soccer fandom?
What surprised me the most is how much it means to them, and I like that. This is one reason that I feel like Birmingham has a lot of potential, and this is another reason why I feel like I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad that a lot of the players that are here, we can help make a change in this community and help this club, to be honest, to put them where I think they should be. I think the fans are very motivated and passionate, and that's what you want from your fan base. Obviously, for me coming over here, it's something different for me again, but I think it's nice to see that the fans support us, and hopefully, as a team, what you want is you want wins because
Yeah.
when you start winning, you start bringing the crowd in more. So I think that's important, and that's where we're trying to get to, where we have a home game, and everybody knows that a winning team is playing, and how can we get them to show up and support us.
Now, I'm from the American South. I'm from Louisiana. I proudly promote that in the show. People that follow me on the internet know that I love Louisiana a lot. And growing up here, it is a predominantly college football dominated area. We have some really, really good teams that play in the South. And being in Alabama, they have two very good ones near Birmingham. Were you, did you have a certain expectation of Alabama when you arrived that maybe this was going to be a harder battle than it is on the soccer front?
Um, yeah, I think when you're analyzing where there's a possibility of you coming, for me, I had a lot of different options to choose where I want to go. Thankfully, and I'm grateful for that, for those opportunities. But yeah, I think Birmingham is a team that I believe in, and the roster that we have has potential. Um, and the expectations for me is how can we push the line to where we can. It's always interesting, and it's a nice project to where a team that needs help, how can we help this team, and obviously for ourselves to improve and put this team where I think we can go to.
And like I said, it takes a little bit of time for that to happen. Kind of going back on what your point earlier was, it's a team that it has an up and down history of doing well in this league, and hopefully it's back on the upswing of having success. And I think it is, right? Because the roster that you guys have together right now is a fantastic one. And it's a lot of new guys. And what we talked about last year with doing the playoffs was if you look at the teams that do well in the postseason, it's the teams that have been together for a year and a half or more. And that's just what the nature of the league is. And hopefully that comes to fruition for you guys. I want to talk about uh, the places that you've been before Birmingham as well. You're from Mexico. You went to college in California. You played for LA. You played for Las Vegas. You played for Phoenix. That's all in the same region, right? The American Southwest, and then obviously Mexico. Moving, to Poland, moving to Alabama. Personally, like we can talk about the soccer all day long, and the soccer is important because that's what you do for a living. But personally, what were the feelings of like, I'm not going to be in the same area anymore? And you kind of touched on it earlier with Poland, but it's definitely in Alabama. It's still in the United States, but definitely not what you're used to before.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's something different than what you're used to. Um, but I feel like you get used to everything. It takes a little bit of time. Where yeah, it's different things that you normally do, but I think that with time and everything, you start meeting friends here as well, and you start getting to know the way that the people work here. And what I really appreciate from here, and see and notice the difference is there's nice people everywhere, but it's just how welcoming people can be here. That's really really nice to see, and it's something that I feel like should happen more.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a difficult thing because we talk about like I was up in Indianapolis pretty recently. I did the show with Indy 11. And we talked about Hoosier hospitality off camera and what Jack Blake and Sean McCauley, being from England, have experienced as they arrived in Indiana. Southern hospitality is a real thing. It's so, you're right. People are nice everywhere, but there's different types of nices. And sometimes that type of nice doesn't always gel with what you might be feeling. You seem to have settled
Yeah.
down in Alabama. What's been the biggest contributor to you feeling more comfortable after a couple months?
Yeah, I think getting to know the city here for sure is something that anytime a new player comes into the to a new team, you want to see, you want to explore and see what are the things that you can do and that helps you feel comfortable to where you're happy. And
Yeah.
I think for myself, I'm very simple person. It's as long as I have a nice gym to go to. I like going to parks,
Yeah.
and they have that here. Um, so I think it's been nice for me to kind of like see what Birmingham has, but what are the things that can make me feel happy, and there's some things that has allowed me to feel good and feel comfortable.
The views, I mean, surprisingly enough, the views in Birmingham, I did not realize because I've been there for 2 years in a row now during the last week of May. I did not realize how hilly it is and how mountainous it might be of looking over the city and seeing all this stuff. It's a fantastic spot to be, and it's one of the most underrated spots we have in USL. There's a lot of hidden gems that we talk about with USL Championship clubs. You look at a club like Hartford or even the down in League One in Omaha. Like there's a bunch of really great cities that no one ever talks about. Birmingham is right up there at the top of that. And it's been so cool to be able to experience that the last couple of seasons. So it's good that you're settling in. I know the people of Birmingham Legion like you a lot. You guys will continue to gel and get better over the course of the rest of the season, as well as the other competitions that you guys are involved in. So I want to ask because you have played in this thing. No, not a lot of players have played in a promotion relegations type league, but you have just experienced this in Poland. You get there, middle of a relegation battle. You know, it's probably anything beyond the American fan's comprehension when it comes to their club and their league. You know, we all watch it in England, we all watch it in Spain, but we don't really ever have to worry about it in Birmingham, Alabama, or anywhere else in this league. Experience it firsthand. What is that like from the player perspective, and what are American fans in for in 2027?
Yeah, well, let me speak a little bit about my experience from pro and relegation in Poland. I think it's great. Obviously, what I experienced there coming into Corona Kielce, which it's a team that at that time we were fighting for to stay in the league at that time, and the experience, that feeling that you have every game, that that every game really is a final. Um, you know, every point you drop matters, and what you don't want is put yourself in a situation where your team might get relegated. So that feeling, it's something that you have to take it in as how it is and know that there's really no time to. A lot of times you can say that you can build, but there with the promotion or relegation, it's like every game you have to fight to however it is to get some points, and at times you can have an um, injury or two, and then you're kind of a like next player in, and that player, it has to you have to make it work somehow. And I think I'm very excited and happy for the league here that they're going to make this happen, and they're trying their best because it's gonna make the sport grow. And I think being there in that situation where you're part of a team that can be promoted, and the other way around, you're part in a team that if you're not doing well can get relegated. It just brings some extra motivation. I know us as players, we should always be motivated, help your team win, however, at any cost. But I do think, being in that situation where you know what, this is how it is. You have to win, or your team gets relegated. It's a mind mindset that can really help the sport grow in the state for sure.
It's a very exciting time from the journalistic perspective because we have soccer that matters all over the table. Not, you know, soccer matters every time you guys go out and play, and I believe that wholeheartedly. But to be able to sell it to a fan, to be able to sell it to someone who is new to USL, to teams that are in 11th and 10th going into the final day of the season, it just doesn't sell as well as someone who's going into a playoff battle. But that can change with promotion relegation as battles at the top, battles at the bottom. And you played in a league that sent clubs to the Champions League and to the Europa League. And so there were battles going on all over Poland. So it's super exciting from the American perspective to be able to welcome this in. Now, you've been here for a while. Do you think American fans are cut out for this?
I think so. I think so. You see fans even in the USL Championship. A lot of times wherever you're playing, you see the passion, and can we continue to push forward and you know us as players continue to bring fans in and you know how I mentioned earlier when you start winning and when you play exciting soccer, this brings more fans in and obviously having the fans in and it just helps it grow more and can really bring more people in the stadiums, which is what we all want.
Yeah, no, that's what we all want. That's what USL wants with the attendance numbers and television numbers. That's what you guys want to be able to play in front of these large crowds, especially at the stadium you guys play in Birmingham. And everyone wants that. People want more community, and people want to be able to have a club that's close to their house and that other people love to share with them as well. So it's a great track to be able to get there. I'm excited to see how USL handles this going forward, but ultimately it's really exciting here in 2025 as it's still even just 2 years away. But Danny, thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, man. Have a fantastic off weekend. Hope you get some R&R and best of luck the rest of the way and stay healthy.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it and thank you guys.
Thank you so much to everyone with Birmingham, to Danny. It's a production to put these things together. It's certainly not just me. Super thankful each and every time we do one of these things to be able to have the cooperation and the willingness of these clubs. They're happy to do it, which is always so helpful to us. So super thankful for that. This was going to be live, like an in-person show, whether it be from their stadium or from their facility. It's very similar to what we've done in the past with Dallas and Indianapolis. Scheduling didn't work out. Unfortunate that I was in Birmingham. They ended up having a game in Miami, so they left right when I got there, and it just didn't work out. But hopefully in the future we make it out to Birmingham, Alabama. It's about 8-hour drive. It's a couple-hour plane trip from where I am right now. Very feasible. That could very much happen in the future. So super thankful to everyone with Birmingham to be able to have a plan B, and this was the plan B, and I feel like it went very well. It's not that different than any other show that we do, but definitely the live shows are a point of emphasis for 2025, and we'll see more down the line. So super thankful to everyone. Thank you again for watching our program. If you like it, you can subscribe on all the different platforms, and you can find me on the internet at RileyJamesIAC on Instagram and X. The show's account is USL on Goals. The parent company is at goals.tv on Instagram, at goals_TV on X, and many great creators from around the world talking about soccer from around the world. All that is available on www.goals.tv. That'll do it for us. Thank you so much for watching our show today. We will see you again in just a few weeks. The show's going to be back on July 17th as I take a couple weeks off to be able to get some rest, go on vacation, and we'll come back and we'll go full go into the USL Championship, the USL League One, and the start of the second USL Super League season. So super thankful to everyone, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. For Danny Trejo, I'm Riley James. We'll talk to you soon.